Okay, folks, let's get with part 2 of the Skinwalker Ranch video. I'll pick up the pace here in a minute. Part 1, there was a little bit of lengthy talk about stuff other than the ranch, Skinwalker Ranch. That's because when I explained what's happening down there and why, there's more to it than just an ET walking around under the ground. When you talk about the problems that were happening on the ranch, it was more than just ETs running around. It was spirit, us when we're not stuck in a body running around. Also, the Fae would be running around the house sometimes, playing around, but they weren't messing with moving the cans and stuff around. People that ran the Sherman family, they come in and she'd start putting up groceries, and it says in a video where they were put back in a bag. Sometimes they would just put on the counter to mess with her. Like, did I put them back there? Not only are the ETs doing this, they're controlled. They were told by the other side to do this, to do that. So who's controlling who? You need to know. If you go to a puppet show to really understand what's going on, I mean, it's good to just watch a show and say, yay, pass popcorn. If you really want to know what's going on, you need to know everything that's going on. I make everything simple. I talk about it in simplicity because it is. As soon as you wake up your abilities, it's all simple. Okay? Cranking people up to make them strong enough to crank other people up, providing that they're ready source, stuff like that, only I can do. Okay? When I'm out of this body, I'll do it from the other side. To do stuff through these physical bodies, to move energy through these physical bodies is crazy ridiculous. Okay? Telekinesis, moving things physically, that cannot be done through a physical body. It has to be done from outside of the body. Anyway, now that's, as of this moment, damn, fracking heart. April of 2019. That's going to change 4 years from now. I already talked about ATIP, bass, NIDS, some of the folks with the NIDS, and some related to the bass group. George Knapp was the investigative reporter. Jeremy Corbell was the investigative reporter that actually put the video together. Dr. Colm Kelleher, sorry about mispronouncing that. He was the lead investigator for NIDS and a microbiologist, and then his doctor, and he was solar plexus and heart. Then his energy strongest there, and then Dr. Eric Davis. He's a physicist and investigator. He was an investigator for NIDS. He's a physicist. He's also strong pineal energy. Very strong seer. He was aware of things others weren't down there, hearing voices, seeing things that no one else saw. Well, he was using his abilities, and he wasn't quite fully aware of his abilities. That's why it's important for people to wake up. At least he trusted the fact that he heard something, which is awesome. Then is a Dr. John B. Alexander, author and consultant. He's an author, and he was also a consultant with NIDS. This National Institute for Discovery Sciences, created by and run by Robert T. Bigelow of Bigelow Aerospace. Bob's an incredibly awesome man. George Knapp, he's really cool too. Inside the first part, I just went to both of them. I gave them a crank up, but I only took a couple of seconds with each of them. Is it as thorough and powerful as the other ones? Yes. But when I talk to someone, I want them to understand. If I just go crank someone up, whatever. You can look at the amount of seconds. I took my time. Look at the amount of seconds I spent on each of them, cranking them up. It takes nothing. And Dr. John B. Alexander, he's also ex-military. And they use a lot of dogs because animals have very strong metaphysical abilities, and they're using them all the time. It's a whole lot more natural for them. Okay, and I talked about the U.S. government being involved with like AATEP was their is part of them, or was part of them, whatever. I think it's still around. Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. They would find, that's the military, that what's the government, things in the government, whatever, where they would find other spacecraft activities, events happening, actions that just were abnormal, something else to plug into, let's just say Bob Bigelow's computer. Does he have a special computer he plugs everything into? I'm talking about the group of people that he has working with him. That's what I'm calling, plug it into them, into the group. The government realized real quick they couldn't do what Mr. Bigelow can do. Mr. Bigelow has 2 of his own space stations. And guess what? Amazing as it seems, he does not censor himself from seeing everything out there. He knows what's going on. Well, he knows there's stuff going on. He wants to know more about it, and he will. George Knapp and Robert and Mr. Bigelow, they're going to be involved in what's about to happen here with the Alliance of Life. All these folks, they're both going to meet the Drock, and they're going to enjoy the heck out of that. Okay. Also, there's other things going on. I talked about it in the last video, where some of the U.S. government and some of the military agencies are tied in, are getting some information with Bob Bigelow's help to find out what's going on. Now, NSA and the groups that came off of that, they're not the U.S. government. They're nothing. They're on their own. Okay. They're renegades, and they were just attacked, but nothing like what's going to happen. NSA, the top part of it, they're going to be taken out. Top 20-something% was just going to be killed, destroyed. And then it's also 2008, the government contracted Bob Bigelow to aid in her AAWSAP program, Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Applications Program. Like I said, the U.S. government, their military and stuff, they're not as tied in as the NSA and their groups with what's going on in space. But when they do get tied in, they're going to get tied in with the good guys. Okay, with this alliance. The Alliance of Life will have nothing to do with the NSA and the rest of them. They're already blackballed, banned, boom. Ain't happening. That's one reason these idiots, MIB, NSA. MIB is a name that was given a long time ago to a group that was just totally involved with the ETs and everything else. So much stuff happens you're not aware of it, and most all of it's underwater. I mean, the vast majority of what happens is underwater. When there's a problem anywhere around the world where ETs pop in, you know who's usually called right away? SEALs. A special group of SEALs. Navy. Anyway, and then they go to whatever country, whatever, they deal with it. Okay, I'm trying to see where I left off. I talked about the big feet being brought over here, and the fact that this those scientists down at the ET scientists down under the ground at the ranch, where the main facility is for a huge facility that extends inside the Uinta Basin. They've been there for over, the group that they are has been there for over 1,000,000 years. Not the same people. They keep getting, replenished, replaced with others. Sometimes ships come in. Sometimes ships move through portals. The portal's that yellow ring, and I'll explain about that in just a minute. I briefly touched it on in the other video, but not like we're about to right here. Anyway, but it's one organization, one group. Whether it's an organization like it's like a business, but it's like half business, half organization. It's business there is not like it is here on this planet. Okay. Before we get into the multi-dimensional and through the dimensional and time, there are similar processes moving through time and then moving through dimensions. It's a very similar process, but it's not quite the same. The dire wolf and a species that had been a species type that had been extinct on this planet for a while. This heart stuff's a pain in the butt, but I'm so glad it's so screwed up. I'm closer to leaving this damn body. Anyway, the cattle mutilation. I wanted. The thing about I was saying about the dire wolf, the huge thing. He shot it and it didn't, hurt it, and couldn't really hurt it until they hit it with a very fast-moving, large round 30-06, and then it ripped part of it off. But for some reason, it didn't seem to hurt it, and the thing ran off. The ETs in the ground had an energy field around it. I'll explain it. It has to do with movement through time. Now, the thing with the cattle and other animal mutilations, okay, leading into this, moving the Shermans, moving the ETs, moving the groceries around. There's one time I talk about where there was a big cord of wood, meaning a certain size pile of wood, that they had moved from one place to another about 100 yards away, and then just a couple of minutes later, the whole huge pile was moved back, but it was a few inches off, so you could see where it had been sitting. So you knew for a fact that something had moved it, but still, if you didn't trust yourself, you could be doubting yourself. And then physical bodies hanging around, voices coming out of the sky talking to some of the folks. The physicist, cool guy, strong pineal, Eric something or other, He could hear their brains talking in a different language. They're talking back and forth, communicating telepathically, and he was hearing it when others didn't. Now they'd find a cattle that were, laying there. There's no blood anywhere. They were dead. They had little parts of them taken out with laser type surgery precision, and they were laying there and there's no blood, and it kept freaking them out, the investigators and other people out. That's simple as hell. When you transport things from one place to another, you can go through metal and just about anything. You go interdimensional and you have enough energy. In our known physics for electricity, I would say amperage, but you have enough power, electromagnetic power in this device, and it literally, they can take a small ship and move it through the ground into the base down there. They can also take in a cow as nothing. So they put an energy field around the cow, and then they bring it right through the ground. And it's down in their facility. That's where they do the surgery on it, where there's blood and stuff up, and they clean the animal up, send it back up. But usually there's not too big a mess, because they have ways to, as the blood's coming out, it's just pulled out sideways. So, damn. So anyway, then they take it and put it back up. Now, because they can play with time, they can literally grab a hold of an animal, and you'll see it 1 minute, and half an hour later, put it right back, and it'll be dead with pieces cut out of it. Their surgery doesn't take that long. They could do it in that time, but if they want, they can play around in time also. Again, I mess with your head. Some of the cattle were taken, and they never, and then they never return. They were literally used for food. They were taken down there, killed, and used to feed that dire wolf. Some of the other folks down there, sometimes ET scientists themselves. They didn't make a big habit of that, because they get into what you would call the vegan food source more. Kind of used to that, but some of them did like it. Also, they pick up the cattle and then move the cattle to another place, way far away. This is all to mess with them, the Shermans. The Shermans bought the ranch because Mr. and Mrs. Sherman, I got their names in here somewhere, I mentioned them last video, I believe. They wanted to grow cattle. It's very special, high-end cattle that make a living. And these ETs, their organization had been there over a million years. Excuse me. That's their place. They didn't want anyone hanging around. Technically it belongs to Gaia, but anyway, that's their thought process. So they'd be messing with everybody right away, moving stuff around, but that they didn't take the hint, so then they got more serious about it. They've taken people and brought them back mutilated, cut in half, and the other half mutilated, the rest, just regular, just dead. You won't hear that in the video. Don't bother looking for it, I'm just telling you. Indians, they'd see people brought back like inside out. Some of their brains would go off. All of a sudden they show up. Just the whole body inside out. I mean, it's disgusting. Anyway, they didn't want to be bothered. They wanted to be left alone, the scientists. So anyway, and then they'd some of the animals that they took all the meat off of and everything for testing, keeping, eating, whatever, they'd take what was left and then mangle it up and send it in a pile to the surface. They take it and put it on the surface where it was almost completely clean bone, completely clean bone almost. So that's what was going on with all the animal mutilation. Did you say something? What the hell was that? You okay, sweetie?
Yeah, I thought you talked to me.
Yeah, you were talking in your head. You were talking loud, and you were doing something, making something. I don't know, thinking about something, production, conversation, production, understanding.
Yeah, I was doing both at once.
You're doing both at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. It's like when you walk around the house and you're upstairs, but you're walking around the kitchen. I'm like, anyway, I'm going back to work. Okay, thanks, sweetie. Anyway, so sometimes Dan is really busy doing stuff all the time, and once she was in a room and I heard her walking around downstairs in the kitchen, saw her doing something. Another time she was just walking around. One time she was walking around doing something. Another time she was at the oven cooking something in it. Didn't see what was in it. It was her energy. It was standing in front of the small toaster oven. Not the great big new one. And she was thinking about eating. She was hungry, but she was up here doing some stuff and had to wait before going downstairs and eating. So part of her was down there doing it. And one time she was down there and she came up here and she walked out of her bedroom through mine. And that was about something else, going through, just walking through. And I then turn around and look at her, you know. First time she came to me, talking to me, she came right up to me, blah, 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 talking, and it was literally a Bengal tiger. And I looked at it and I said, Deanna? And she looks at me like, yeah, what? And she's still talking with me telepathically. She wasn't here when that happened. She wasn't here in the house, so that was kind of funny though. That's the first time someone came to talk to me telepathically. That was supposed to be in a human body and came to me as what she is. You know, she's more animal essence than anything else. So it's like a combination of Siberian and Bengal tiger. People, the more you wake up, the more you become yourself, it opens up a whole new world. You look around outside, you understand so much more. It's not just like sitting in a movie. Before you awaken, it's not only like you're sitting in a movie theater watching a movie. You have goggles on and all you can see is a small piece of the stage. And then you wake up and you find out about what's really going on, as well as what you can do. No such thing as gifts, man. These are your abilities. They've always been part of you. God gave me a gift. There's no God. Never has been, never will be. You don't have gifts, you have abilities. If someone bakes you pie, gives it to you, that's a gift. Someone gives you beer, that's a gift. Okay? Someone cuts your lawn, that's a gift. But your abilities, no, that's always been part of you. Okay, time portals is there, but I want to go through some other stuff first. There's a reason why I'm holding off finishing talking about the time portals. That's the going through time. It's cool. It's neat. It's only allowed, source, alpha source on the other side only allows it from time to time, but when it does, it's in a small controlled area, just like this is. Not my house, the Skinwalker Ranch, 480 acre area, 488, whatever, 480. So, and it'll all come together. I'll tell you about it. There's some other video information, ET video information. I talked about it in the last video. There'll be a list of that information at the end of this video also, part 2. These are the videos that have truth in it. If you just want to hear a bunch of crap, a bunch of smack, listen to David Wilcock, Corey Good, Simon Parks. You will be so screwed up by the time you're done. All these other people talking about this dimension, that dimension, Project Camelot, all of them. There's a reason why I'm not attached to anyone. Okay? I'm bringing you information no one else has, and there you go. And it's for you to do whatever you want with it. If you don't like it, good. Get off the damn channel and do something that makes you happy. Hell, relax, open up, try to help yourself flow. Try to release more of yourself in the body to go into the field. In my lifetime, I've put out over 1,200 videos. 1,200. I'm trying to feed you all the information I can, and you make up your own mind. All right, this is a list of some time-specific events when someone said something and something happened. When we get into details about the incident with that huge dire wolf, we're going to start talking about time travel, time energy used for time travel. And then after all that's said and done, we'll get into the actual time travel itself, portals, the equipment making it. Okay, at 55 minutes and 44 seconds into the movie. Now, the movie we're using is Hunt for the Skinwalker. It's by that Jeremy guy. Jeremy Colamy. What's that guy's name? Jeremy Corbell. Jeremy Corbell. There's 2 minutes and it's 2 hours and 6 minutes long. Okay, that's how you know you have the right one. And the reason why it's important to have the right one is because these times are, relative to the video itself. So I want you to go to the right place. The reason why it's important for me to give you these times is when you go to look at it for yourself, it'll take you right there. You don't waste time going up and down. If you want to help yourself, if you really want to understand what's going on, watch the whole video first. You can make a list of the at so many minutes, so someone says something, whatever, and then look at it when it happens. But the best thing to do is just listen to the video first. Just relax, let yourself flow, relax, and then watch the whole video. Okay, folks, this is real stuff. This ranch, it's real. It's been happening for years. I go into really deep detail explaining what's going on. Soon you'll find out what I'm telling you is correct. And anything you look at when you see something similar, you'll understand that yes, it does coincide with what I was talking about, and you did see something. If you mention where you see someone do this or some group come in, and I didn't mention it, that doesn't mean that you're not seeing something correctly. it means you're seeing something I didn't see, mention, or think was necessary to talk about. So remember, like I've said, Deanna and I can look at a picture and see two. We see we see the same basic image, but we see different parts of the same picture. Like there was an image that was recently sent to me by a friend, that she and a friend, another two friends of mine, had actually been looking at something that had happened. This one guy was Frank had a consult with this guy, and I think I was there too. They've done stuff together before, and Frank and I have were there giving this guy a consultation, and 5 hours later, after the consultation, the guy gets hit head on, T-boned. Not head on, excuse me. He got T-boned. Totaled the car, put him in a hospital. Not with a bunch of broken bones, but still hurt. And that same person, a certain amount of time later, not that much later, all of a sudden I got some pictures that I had sent me a little while ago from the same people. They were at their house, and all of a sudden they heard a crack, smack, bang, whatever. And then they go outside on the porch, and it's wooden steps going up with rails, with the handrails going up the steps, and then along the porch, something came up from the top going downward and burned it, fried it. Just so you can see something from up here, from up top or below, came down and zam, hit it. Well, I looked at that, and Deanna looked at it. After I looked at it a couple of minutes, I brought Deanna in on it. Okay? And actually, wait a minute. She looked at it and she said, "What's that?" And then I said, "Come here, honey." And she started, coming around to see. I'd just started looking at it. I saw the beam energy coming from the sky, a beam or not, and then I was seeing a TR4 and the beam coming from the TR4, but it wasn't really solid. I didn't have a lot of faith in it. So in my mind, when I see something, I'm not going to lie to myself. Whatever it is, it is. If I was incorrect about something, fine. I don't give a damn. When I have been, it doesn't happen often, but I have put that on video. So you all know that no matter how strong you are, the only way you learn is by being incorrect from time to time. What race car driver has not wrecked? So if a race car driver doesn't wreck, he's not a race. If he wrecks, he's not a race car driver. What? A mathematician is not allowed to have an eraser or hit delete, clear entry, because if he's a mathematician, he never makes any incorrect calculations. I mean, what kind of fracking insanity is that? That's thought process that have been embedded in people to keep you from becoming who you are. And no, the evil Anunnaki didn't do that, although they have tried to keep the people's DNA and stuff dumbed down. It was the other side. The other side runs them, it runs us, runs ETs, runs everything in the body. Over half of you in a body right now on this planet have had at least one life in an Anunnaki body. That's why I say I'm going to explain to you the ET stuff, but I'm telling you more. I'm giving you the information for what's really happening. And you'll find out before too long here when they tell you themselves. When the ETs tell you themselves, when it comes out. I need to hurry. Um, so anyway, 55 minutes, 44 seconds, George Knapp and Bob Bigelow. George Knapp's talking about Bob Bigelow and the fact that, you know, he knew he had things go on in his own life, is the way George Knapp said it. Well, his own life, his own starship, his own space stations. He knows it's real. He sees it himself. Imagine having home video of ETs flying around. Before long, they'll be knocking on the windows of a space station, guaranteed. They've already come up close, but they'll be knocking on the doors soon. George Knapp and Mr. Bob Bigelow, they're going to be very much in the middle of what's going on with the Drock. They'll be sitting down with the Alliance of Life, which includes Drock, Neantids, and the rest of them. They will be there sitting with them in person. And it's not too far away. Like I said, these NSA, MIB people, nah. They were dealing with the trash ETs that had to do with the old Federation, which was disbanded by the Alliance of Planets. In the Alliance of Planets, they also destroyed the Federation military. More than half of the Federation military, important parts of it, literally broke away to the Alliance of Planets, and that Alliance of Planets just changed their name to Alliance of Life as soon as there was a male and female source energy sitting at the table with them. Remember, they have equipment that actually reads spirit. You can see it. Anyway, so he tells you a little bit about George tells you a little bit about Bob right there, and that's, to me, that's important for you to hear. Especially the fact that he owns Mr. Bigelow owns 2 space stations, his own private. I know I've said it 10 times. I'll probably say it again. Hour and 6 minutes and about 43 seconds. George is talking about the original tapes, talking from the original tapes, his report or investigation number 4. And he's talking about ETs messing with them, and that they were always aware of what the scientists were doing before they were going to do it. These ETs would do something relative to this type of phenomenon in a certain area. So they'd put up the cameras and the test equipment for that phenomena, and then a totally different phenomena happens farther away. Okay, and so they were being played with, and then they'd even get to the point where not telling anyone, not doing anything, you know, being super secretive, and then, you know, trying to sneak up on them. They couldn't. They could hear everything going on. They can see and watch and hear everything that everyone was doing on the surface all the time. Our ET friends, they have 2 different orbs that stay subdimensional. You can't see them. I can feel them. I can see them with my head, but with my pineal, flying around the house. I just went to go look a little bit. My head hurts. It's really hard for me to do this right now. I look at something once or twice. I already just know what it is. I just know. That's more solar plexus type stuff. But when I go to someone or I start talking with people, especially more than one conversation at a time, that's hard. I mean, this physical brain, this physical body, is shutting down. So this stuff it's more of a pain. Anyway, so they figured, these investigators on a ranch, they figured out pretty soon, hey, look, we cannot set up a, you know, there should be a great live action study area where, you know, we can put up different testing situations and put control groups and control the environment and everything. They couldn't control nothing. So it really got frustrating. And, you know, this stuff was happening. Mr. Bigelow had this place 10 years, man. So now, at an hour, 9 minutes, and 46 seconds, Dr. Eric Davis. He's a gentleman that's a physicist and strong pineal. He was talking about a large glowing orb that would be blue, then it'd be orange, then it'd be blue. That he was looking at, and he saw it in front of a mountain range, so he could see the whole thing and just goes to the ground. Now, he didn't say it, but it went into the ground, and he was like, and that's where they go multidimensional and just go right to the ground. At 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 44 seconds, George Knapp. You'll notice him. He's got like a V-neck type, relaxing type shirt with gray, silver hair, whatever you want to call it. A really cool guy. You can feel his energy, and he's cool. That guy's awesome. He speaks of Ground Zero, which was like a small village that was trying to be built a long time ago. Now, they call it Ground Zero because it had more activity. That's because just barely over 10% of the activity that happened on the ranch was of the spirit from the other side, people, you and me, when we're not in the body. Ghosts, ooh, really? No, it's people out of a body. Spirit, evil demons, no. Want to see a demon? Go to church, look at your God. The all-perfect, all-forgiving, all-loving God that also made hell to abuse and torture you horrifically forever when he wasn't happy with you. What? You're stupid. You don't understand. Only God knows. I've heard that from a few religious people. I said, really? I'm stupid? Okay. Have a good day. Hope you don't walk around the street with your thumb in your ear too much. I modified the comment a little bit. Anyway, so there'd be white orbs floating around, people hanging around. But then they would put spheres through there too. The Fae were coming in and out of that area. And when the Fae come out here, they can make an orb too. They have their own energy, and it's an orb when they walk around. One time on a video, it was on a news station, and a lady was sitting there and said that there was this orb that was moving like this, you know, and then coming down around here. They said, look, it's an angel. And I was like, what? It was a fairy. Her wings were more like insect type wings. And she was floating around. If you see something floating around like this and smooth, that's Fae. Fairy, nymph, there's various kinds, okay? I talk about the basic types in book number 1, okay? When something's like this and it goes straight, that's an angel, okay? Angels show, then they go. But I guess, you know, as being a butthead, when I looked at it, I said, I can't believe those people can't see the wings. I can't believe they can't see that that's Fae. And then, you know, I forget that so many people can't see this stuff. That's why I don't expect people to believe me. You have your proof later. That's why I really don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm the one that's going to do what's going to happen, and nothing can stop me, and it's all for everyone. So what's the big deal? Nothing. My only big deal is getting the hell out of this damn body. Anyway, also, they would open up a portal in there sometimes when the folks down below knew that someone was going through that area. Every once in a while, And almost very infrequently, they'd open up an orange orb. An orange ring. It's like this. It'll be like a round orb, but the closer you look at it, you see like an orange ring. And then it gets bigger, but you look through it, and you see the sky from another planet. You might see the sky from another part of this planet. There's portals that there's still a few of them running that have been on this planet forever. There's a mass conduit system underground that goes from one place to the other in these capsules. But these scientists have the best stuff. They have portals where they could go underground, through the earth, from one place to another. They also have portals where they can go to another planet. They can have one or two large ships that they can connect to. A portal here on the planet goes to one ship, goes to another huge ship, and then goes to another planet. And these portals are strong, okay? Wait till you find out the size of the base under the ground, underneath the ranch. So anyway, they could show you a sky from another planet. You could see look in the atmosphere and see 2 moons, or whatever. Anyway, so you had the Fae in and out of there. You had a lot of people that are out of body floating around. Some people that used to live there had family live there. That's one place a lot of time travel was allowed. That attracts attention. A lot of people who had lives there that were Indian. So there's a lot going on over there. Now, in spite of all the stuff, all the reports that you've heard about with Skinwalker Ranch, remember, it's over more than a 10-year period. Some of the things you hear about go back to the 1800s. So is it a very busy site? Has it been? Yes. Is it right now? No. There's no one in there but a few scientists, folks, and a small, not a regiment, a small group of security men from the Alliance of Life military. The Drock literally have a force field around the inside, around the facility and the ground. You can't get in. And to get in or out, you have to, go through a certain section. And they have serious security around there. The scientists, ET scientists that were down there, they were all captured. They were imprisoned and they're paying for their crimes. Oh, shit. A lot of them were released. A lot of them are released now. The worst of what happened, the ones that did the worst of what happened aren't even there anymore. But they know where they are and they're being sought after. And they're being brought in to pay for their crimes. But a lot of the people in there were innocent of what happened, of the crimes that were committed. And some of them are actually staying with the Alliance, becoming, helping it, being part of it, to help with some of the research going on over there. That literally was, my head started opening up hard. And that's a friend of mine, he's a Source family member, he's part of the Drock Council. He's literally took time out to listen to me do this video. Like I said, those sensors that we have 2 of them here at the house all the time. I used to be able to pretty well follow, not word for word, but follow like 7 different conversations at one time. But the physical mind can't really process stuff like that. You have to learn how to do it metaphysically, and in these bodies we can't do crap. They were made like that. by the original first being male and female, now dead and gone permanently. Anyway, and the place will be opened not soon, but sooner than I would think. They're removing most of the equipment in there except for transportation for people to get in and out. They have there's a new science group that's going to go in there, and they're not going to be like these other folks. They're going to be doing other things, things that'll actually help the planet. Everything's going to change real soon. Anyway, I don't know where I was before he started. I wish I knew his name, but it's Drock. I can't speak Drock. It's a gurgle growl, you know. I guess I've shown how poorly I do with English. Okay. So I told you a little bit about the dimensional barriers that open up. They can also go through time and show you, go through another portal. With the equipment they have there, it goes to one portal, then goes to another portal, and they can show you the sky from this planet 5 million years ago. 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 52 seconds. You know, and the seconds just basically go there a few seconds beforehand. George mentions that Mr. Sherman spoke of seeing an orange glow in town that would expand in size. That's what I was just talking about. You know, an hour and 12 minutes and 44 seconds, and an hour and 12 minutes, 52 seconds. I was just trying to pick out different points for you, reference points, so you'd see it and you know you were there. And these portals that would open up, sometimes ships would come through. Well, usually what would come through would be these sensors. Some sensors literally like this. Some of them are like this. Some of them are, well, they'd fit inside a 10 by 10 room, but, you know, with a little bit of room around them, but pretty big. I guess about 8 foot. Depends on what they're for and what they can do. There's also other sensors that are, you know, 2-3 inches, about 2 inches. And at one point, I think it's from 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 52 seconds. When he started talking about the ETs popping in and out, they also talk about Bigfoot beings. Also travel about a big being going through there. It's a big, like about 8 foot tall, and it's got no neck, going through there. And they could see, you could see like a ring, and it appeared like they grabbed in there. They reached the edge of the ring and pulled themselves through. These scientists down here, some of the ETs scientists that were there, there's a few Palladian, there's a few other folks that look a lot like us. There's other, mostly biped ETs, stand up, walk on 2 legs. And they'd get these, they'd literally open up portals and attempt, or they could just grab and pull through if they want, but the idea was to put some food near the portal and trying to get them to come through on their own. You know, like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, they're all brought here in the second age in this planet on Earth. And so anyway, they'd attract them through, then they feed them, they teach them basic stuff, simple stuff. They were friends. So then they release them back in their whatever, and then they'd open the portal, put out a sound, and then it's like a calling card. They come, they know there's food or something on the other side. Sometimes just to pop in and say hi. They were very friendly with the other animals. That dire wolf, that was so huge, they did the same thing with it. They had 2 huge domestic dogs there. They mentioned having big heads. They were huge. It was like a Rottweiler, but huge, big. Take a Rottweiler, a boxer, and a pit bull, and mix them together, but have it huge. And they have big heads, but making it even more so. They literally bred these things through genetics, and whatever time they were in, and then they spend time with them. That wolf would love people. Every time he came in to the facility, he had food, a lot of cattle over the years, a lot of he'd be let loose to go run around and kill cattle and eat them. He'd be let loose to run around and go after other game. But he got to the point where he's just living with the folks in the facility. And we're going to go more into the dire wolf in a minute. I want to get through this first. So this thing where they saw this Sasquatch looked like he was coming out. Well, he was. There's a huge, they said it looked like the ring was 3 foot. Okay, it's about 8 foot. Okay. It's about 6 foot, 8 foot wide. Close to 8. And the ring also changes in size a little bit. Whatever. But it could go up to 8 foot wide. And anyway, so what it is there's a ramp, walks right up to it, and then they just go like this. They go through and come out. So they knew they could always get back because they'd done it so many times. So when they were out running around, the ET around and out of time, place, whatever, the ET scientists in the ground would be watching them. The dire wolf. The dire wolf was running around kind of having fun, and when he saw the people, he said, "Cool." He went running right up to him. And then Mr. Sherman was reaching up here, petting the guy's head. Down a little bit lower, but whatever. And he was no small man in size or anything else for that matter. Whatever I just meant, he was, for people, he was a tall man, and he was petting this thing, like about where his chin was. That's where the dog's head was, just under where his chin was. It's like, and the dog was just happy. Well, it wasn't a dog; it was a dire wolf. But they were the first dogs, wolves, anyway. So then when he saw the calf, he didn't think anything of it. He went over and grabbed the thing. It was sticking its nose out. He said, "Good, time to eat." And he went to grab it, and he wouldn't let go of it even when they started hitting him. He said, he was thinking, the wolf was thinking in his head, "Why are they doing this to me? They don't want me to eat it? I always eat this." So he just kept pulling on it. At that point, as soon as they started going towards the wolf to hit it, the ETs, they put an energy field around it that is relative to time travel, moving through time, transference from one time to another. When you put that energy field around something, you can't touch it just the same way you would if it was physical. I've told you this, I've seen this time after time after time right in front of my face, behind closed doors. Somebody when they go travel, when they beam someone from the ground onto a ship, when they put a ship over the house and they beam you through the roof, they put an energy field around you. It starts like red and then becomes softer orange when you can see color. See the energy auras, the byproduct of the energy frequency itself. And then it spreads all the way over the body, so the body's encased in it, and then it goes interdimensional and then goes flying to wherever it's going to be. Wherever it needs to come out, like on a ship or something. When you go through time, it's very, very similar. And when you have that, when it's just dimensional, and you're going through solid objects, or they're walking around the house, or doing work in the house while you're there, you can't touch them. You could swing an axe to them. You're not going to hit nothing except maybe yourself if you know, if you're not careful. Well, with the time thing, it's very similar. Moving through time takes more power. There's similarities between it and transporting yourself multidimensionally, but it's more intense. There's a lot more to it. So when they shot the 350 Magnum at it, 357 Magnum at it, as powerful as that gun is, it's kind of slow compared to others. When they shot it with the 30-06 rifle, that's a huge round and it goes extremely fast. It knocked off part of the wolf. When they did that, that wolf was still covered with energy that was interdimensional. And so, well, you know, we didn't see that, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, it was dusk and you're not going to see that energy anyway, unless you can see it with your abilities. It wasn't dusk then. It was, you know, just starting to get to later in the evening. It didn't have the high overhead sunlight. But the thing is that that protected a wolf until it got hit with the 30-06. But when it did, and it blew a piece of him off, and you saw him kind of run away, almost feeling nothing. He was in a time loop. Not time loop. Excuse me. He was in it's like a time phase of time. I don't know what you want to call it. And then all of a sudden, he ran off to the bank, and you know, his footprints disappeared. He went there, grabbed water, boom, took off. He was taken and put back in, you know, earlier time. Excuse me. Until earlier time, he wasn't hurt. Nothing happened, and you know, time travel is frowned upon by the other side, running everything. But in certain situations, they allow it. And if it's a small thing where there's a small group of people, it's not going to have a huge effect on everyone. Then the original first being male and female, because they were the ones that said yes or no. If they said no, it never happened. It wouldn't happen. But as long as they okayed it, then fine. And besides, screwing with people, making people's lives harder, more abusive, that's what they did anyway. So anyway, so that's why that thing happened with the wolf. The bullet was strong, but it was big and strong, but it was fast enough. The key there is the speed. But it didn't do much to bother the wolf. Times over here at the house when Dan and I have been touched or accidentally bumped into ETs when they were here, or I hate to say ETs, they're friends. They have names for most of them. When you go to turn, I'd smack into someone, turn around, and they're gone. It was right here. There's, you know, I don't have anything hanging in the room on an air hook, but it's just like you went like that and hit something. Anyway, that's what's going on with time travel. I've pretty much told you about the dimensional stuff with what we've said so far. We're getting to the end of it finally. Let's finish this. I'll go back to dimensional stuff in a minute, see if I missed anything. At an hour, 21 minutes and 9 seconds, George is talking with Dr. John B. Alexander again, the NIDS consultant, ex-military, and he was saying that whatever was there was precognitive, because it was staying a step ahead of what they were doing. Again, that's like the third time I've mentioned this kind of thing. That's important. These people came here in spaceships over 1 million years ago. For us to think that we can sneak around on them is a cross between, it's a blend of stupidity and arrogance beyond any figures I can come up with. It's not being realistic. Let me say that, okay? Okay, we're going to talk about what happened with the bulls and everything. At a minute, but before that, at a minute and 42, at 1 hour, 42 minutes and 52 seconds, they're talking about Mr. Bigelow. Although he sold the ranch, he was allowed access to it. This group, organization that came off of branched off of the NSA a while back, a good while back. They wanted, oh shit. They wanted the people that actually were going to just go ahead and take it was the NSA. And the folks at the NSA allowed, they would maintain control of it, but they literally allowed another part of the government to think that they were receiving it, and that part of the government actually paid for it. But the people of the NSA organization, this organization off the NSA, they were actually in control of what would happen, and they didn't want Bigelow around. They didn't want Bigelow to find anything else down there. But they kind of wanted to step aside, and then as soon as this other branch of the military got involved, then anything they'd find, they just take from them anyway. That just slammed into my head. The guy from the hell is the name of that realty group? I didn't print it out. The name of the realtor. The name of the realty company that is in charge of the property. I don't have it here anywhere, but I should have written down the name given to the realty company itself is just preposterous. I mean, it's such an arrogant joke. I'm going to find that to put on the at the end of the video. Look at the realty name. So anyway, the people in this realty, the guy that's with this realty, you see him, and he's dressed all in black, has a gold watch on. He has his voice muffled, changed. He's like a little baby with diapers on playing a game. Information goes from him to another person, what he's not aware of, that literally everything going on goes right into the NSA. And this other part of the U.S. military, a branch off of the military, thinks they actually own it, which is sad, I guess. But that's why they have armed escorts and stuff out there now, trying to keep people away. The whole idea was to keep people off, but let excuse me, keep people away, and for the NSA to find out what's going on down there. But the NSA and organizations related to them have as far as anything living on the planet, basically living on the planet, like governments and stuff like that, they have such more intense, so their equipment is so much better than what anyone else here has, like military and stuff like that. The government's, NSA is not government. Their stuff is so much better. They were aware that it was locked up. This happened in 2016, folks. That's when the embargo was put on. The Drak embargo on Earth, just outside of Mars. There was that force field between the main generator was on Ceres, Ceres, that body of land, rotating mass, orbiting mass. And then there were other satellites put out, and it was from outside of Mars to us here, or further. It was enclosed. You couldn't travel from outside there in here unless you had their passcode to get in. There was a Drak and Antid that controlled that. So they already knew they were in deep water. They were screwed. So they didn't want Bigelow anywhere near it, but at the same time, it didn't matter at that point because the Drak had control. So they just backed up 2 steps and let the government agency, secret agency, take over control of it. And then they actually got the information just as or before the government agency did. And when I said they, I'm talking about this NSA group, NSA and their affiliates. They got the information at the same time or quicker than anyone else. So anyway, NSA and themselves, and those guys, they're screwed. All they're getting is being taken out the back door. A lot of them have war, like war crimes type stuff. It's not war, but the abuse against the planet and people of it. Okay, getting near the end of it, folks. So anyway, this other group working inside the military that owns this, or connected with our military, that they paid for it. I think they own it. They told they worked something out with Mr. Bigelow to just keep coming there and working using their scientists that were so smart to go ahead and let's see what's going on. Let's see if this is a threat to the we want to assess any threat to the to our country. Hell, it's in the middle of the damn West U.S. So Bigelow's been working with him. Bigelow was told the ranch was going to get sold to these people. He didn't have a way around it. He'll never confirm that. Don't bother asking him. He can't say it. I can. This stuff is for you. So anyway, Bob Bigelow, folks, he's awesome. He is. Okay. As a matter of fact, while we're talking about the Bob Bigelow working hard with the government, doing as much as he can, and being an honorable person the whole time he's doing it, wouldn't it be great if the military and all these other groups were had any honor? If they were like Mr. Bigelow, you wouldn't have any of the problems you have today relative to this type of thing and many other things. Anyway, in 2008, the defense Bob Bigelow, his Bass group that he made, it's a public group because it's funding from the government, but he runs it within limits, within certain boundaries put upon him. But he's got a big free hand to do what he needs to find out what's going on, because There are people in our government that are good, cool, and trying to do the same thing, but mostly the military wants to know what the hell, how can they deal with this stuff. So anyway, that happened in 2008, that contract between Bass and, Bigelow's organization, basically, and the defense it's a defense contract with this other group, whatever. It's in the I mentioned it in the first video. I'm trying to keep going. This is cool. At an hour, 53 minutes, and 48 seconds, George Knapp's talking about, he was asked by Jeremy Colby, or whatever the guy's name is, that actually put out this video. He was asked, George Knapp was asked, well, what do you want to come from this? And George said he wanted people to understand what the hell's really going on. He wants people to understand the true reality of what's happening. George, he was talking about wanting people to understand that our current reality isn't actually real yet. That was the way I kind of summed it up. But I got a big kick out of that. I was so happy to hear it and feel it from him. I've been working on this for years. If you could see what I see and do what I do, you'd be aware of so much more. But you'd also feel alone. In regards to said knowledge, said understanding, from being able to access, different knowledge. Again, the reason for all my books, everything else, these spheres are powerhouses. There's one or two back there. They're now going out 45 foot on a radius for the mech spheres. I have so much star Essenite in there, and star Essenite loves for me to crank it up hard. And Deanna, she's a powerhouse. So, anyway, and while you're sleeping, this stuff's working on you. 45 foot radius, you put one in the middle of the house and it's hitting almost the whole house. Everyone in it. When you're sleeping, it's working on you, making you stronger, waking up your abilities, unreal. Anyway, that's why I did do all this stuff. Other information sources, I want to go over this real quick. And we still got to talk about the bulls. This is a big one. Other people to research. Bob Lazar, Lazar, okay, he's done some work at Area 51. David Adair is a really cool guy too. Bob and David are really cool. David Adair, Adair, a research scientist and more. David Adair built a nuclear-powered rocket, and he was a young kid then, and he knew what was going on. And then the military said, "Well, that's great. Now you got to leave. Give us your rocket." And he said, "Okay, well, let me, fix it so that it's, just." I think he wanted to get it to take off one more time or set something in it, whatever. He said, "Okay, let me do this one more time." I put a lot into that, and the military officer says, "Okay, go ahead." So he had gotten some grease on his finger. Grease is a funny reaction with a lot of things. You can put axle grease, some clean grease on a cement floor, and then put oxygen on it. It'll blow up. It'll blow a hole in the concrete. So anyway, with a small nuclear reaction going on in there, and he as he said, one of the wheels on these the big hangar doors, where they put planes and stuff. He'd reached down, got a little bit of grease on there, put it on everything else, and then it fired up, and then it blew up. They had to get the hell out of there. So needless to say, the military, they never got his plans. And Bob is really cool. Bob's more the quiet guy, very strong pineal. Bob Lazar is very strong pineal. David Adair is more solar plexus. One's no better than the other, folks. It's just different. Okay, just different. Travis Walton, the book, the movie Fire in the Sky. They took what they showed Travis some parts from that they had made. Said this is going to be the movie. Travis said, "Okay, I'll sign off on it." And then the people making the movie totally butchered. Took that stuff out, created their own crap. Turned it into a lie. Not Travis Walton's fault. Travis Walton is an incredible man. He's incredibly strong pineal. That's one reason he was picked up. But he was seeing things in there. He was hearing communication that he didn't understand. That's one of the reasons he got out of the truck on top of that mountain and wanted to see what was, going on with the light. He wanted to get nearer there because, he's getting kind of pulled in there. People's thought process, not controlled. Ooh, zombie, The Walking Dead, all that stupid crap. No, he was interested, and he was like being tempted to come in. Okay. All right, at 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 47 seconds. I do have some other stuff, but at the end of the movie, there on paper, there's research movies, NSA, just research. It says research movies, NSA attacks on J&D, and Earth and Ages timeline. That's some information that I'm putting up on there just so you have different movies to look at where you can get good information. Everything they say is not exact and right on the money, but they talk about stuff and they're so close and it's such important information for you. I watched the movies, all of these, okay? One of them, number 6 in the list here, my paper, Third Eye Spies. That's about the U.S. government using remote viewing. Happens through the scanner right up here. That's the scanner field. That's what a scanner field part of your brain is. Third eye here, okay? Scanner up here. Where the head and the roof, right where it blends, that's your scanner. That's remote viewing. It's pretty much mostly this dimension, just another half above, another half below. But you see with you see things much more clearly remote viewing than you do with the pineal, because the pineal is made to go through multiple dimensions. How many? How much you want to use it? Feed it some good energy. Get a pineal sphere from Deanna. Just leave it near your bed. While you sleep, it's going to keep making your pineal stronger. The last few spheres I made, Deanna makes them, physically wraps them and everything. Then she cranks it up and I crank the crap out of it. But I designed all of them. All of them. Deanna is incredible about seeing stone energy and yours and putting the right stones together. I guess when it comes to that, I was made and when I was made in the beginning, not this body, who I really am inside this body, I was made to serve and protect. The original first being, everything I built and destroy things and stuff like that, but that had, for the most part, had changed. Nobody needs to be controlled. You need to be left alone. Just, it's like you go down a mountain highway and you're hauling ass, having a good time, wonderful. But you're going to find that there are some, dividers you can see through, like a wall you can see through, but it keeps you from flying off the cliff. That's me. That's where we're going. That's what's about to happen. You all are ancient, man. You've been around forever. You don't know that. You don't know who you really are yet, for the most part. So there's always someone. You can always find someone if you look a little bit. Says Jay's arrogant and everything. Yeah, well, whatever. I don't give a damn. I do my job. Um, but all of you have the ability to see this, and I'm throwing the information at you so you can see it more and more. Okay, now let's talk. What I saved for last is the bullet incident. The head NIDS, N-I-D-S, inspector. There's one video I talked about a little bit. UFOs and science. It's Dash Slaying the Dragon. Stanton Friedman put some information in there. Really strong solar plexus energy. He mentions some things that are very important. Okay, is he right about everything he's saying? No, but he talks. Just one of the many things he said that is important is the fact that just say a cubic foot of soil from the Earth is heavier than a cubic foot of soil of most other planets. The weight of the material, because we have more heavy metals on this planet than most other planets have. And let me get just one more time when they brought up the cattle thing. Dr. Colm Kelleher, and that was, I mentioned earlier, at 1 hour, 21 minutes, and about 47 seconds, George and the others and Dr. Colm Kelleher, lead inspector, start talking about the bull incident. If you've watched the video yet, or you do watch it, you're going to see that there's a pin. There's a pen. There's a pen right here. A pen right here. Okay, it's like this, and over here. But connecting the two is a trailer, like a cattle trailer. It's got some doors on it. It's to help control it. One of the bulls going from one end to the other. These bulls weighed about 2,000 pounds, about a ton. Excuse me. You notice the horns have been taken off. It's so they don't kill each other. All the cattle on this ranch were very expensive. The bulls were even more so. The Shermans got the best, and they paid top dollar for it when it came to bulls and cattle. So the bulls were kept in this one fence. Inside this one fenced-in pasture. All four of them were there. They saw them there. They drove by it. About half an hour or so away, whatever they tell you in the video. Then all of a sudden they went by, and the bulls were no longer in there. And I said, "What the hell?" Now both of these fences, that created these two different, holding areas, whatever. They were made of solid iron or steel that was welded together like a fence. There was steel cable in certain places. These things were made, this fencing, or whatever you want to call it, it was made to hold 4 2,000-pound bulls. Okay? So they weren't. There's only two places they could have been, in one pasture or the other one that's connected to the trailer. They were in neither. They were gone. So they didn't know what was going on. In the one pasture where they went up to this trailer, the trailer that goes in between I just mentioned. The lock for it was closed. It had wire wrapped around it. It hadn't been messed with. So that wasn't opened. Then they went to the other pasture, and they went up there, and then he opened the door and saw them in there. I think he said something, made some noise, whatever. All of a sudden, all four bulls were in there like they were comatose, staring like that. So they all of a sudden they woke up. They kicked down one of the doors. they went crazy to get out of there. So they got the bulls out. As soon as they said that, they literally, what had happened, all the ETs, they have this just like a 10-year-old kid has his own cell phone, okay? They have devices that put out separate frequencies. And these frequencies will take anything in a body, just calm it down to where it falls asleep. It's not quite asleep. It's not quite that relaxed, but you're unconscious, and your body's not moving. You're not locked in frigid. Someone goes up to you and pushes you, you're gonna, fall over, and you might wake up or not, depending on the type of frequency and how much energy they're putting behind it. Okay. So anyway, so they just took the cattle. They do this one under the ground. They hit them with a frequency. And they literally, they hit them with a frequency. It calms them down. Okay. They literally beam them through the door. Okay. Remember, interdimensional. Okay. They put them in an energy field, and then they put them in the, they can move them through anything, just like when they pull people out through the house, right through the roof, through the wall. So they put all four of them to sleep. Then they picked them up, transported them right through the closed door into the trailer, and they put them near each other. And then they just kept them asleep. They kept the frequency going. They did this in a period of half an hour, which honestly it only take them about, because they were turning them around the way they were, 5 minutes maybe at the most. 10 minutes, no, it doesn't take anything near that long. If they wanted to hurry, they could do it in 3 minutes. So anyway, so then, of course, what does that do? It freaks out the Shermans and all the stuff with the cattle mutilations and the bulls. Why did the Shermans buy the ranch? They bought it to raise these special cattle and make good money. Well, after all these cattle had been destroyed, taken, and then the bulls were threatened, what does that do? That tells them to leave. They were hearing voices, physical voices saying, "Get out. Run. Get off this property. Not your home. Leave now." So, depending on which one of the ETs it was doing it, because they weren't all scientists, and the exact location in the Uinta Basin or close to it, a lot of people were being killed. So, mutilated, just there's no way to explain what happened to them, and that freaks people out, and they stay away. They want to be left alone to do with their experimentation. They wanted the ranch free because they wanted dire wolves and anything else they had, the Sasquatch or Bigfoot, to have some of them come in and out, study them, see what they do. I was surprised about this. See, when they said that as soon as they showed the bulls and they said that the bulls were gone, I saw the bulls in the movement of what happened. I said, damn. They put them asleep and put them in there, and then bam. And then they use, the energy beam that they use for that is very strong electromagnetic. To move these bulls, they do what? They create a gravitational field that is stronger than the one around it, and then they control that field. That's how the spaceships move on initial and mass inertia. Just boom. If you take a big nail And you take insulated wire, wrap it around it, and then attach both ends to a battery. Not a car battery, small one. Just, be safe. You've seen this experiment, I'm sure a lot of you in school growing up as little kids. That nail becomes magnetic, and you can go up and pick up another nail with it. You disconnect the battery, pull it out, so the nail's by itself, and for a little while it's still going to be magnetic, even though it keeps losing energy. For a while it's magnetic. Well, what they realized is that huge steel bars and steel cable that they used to make the bull pens, they realized it was magnetized. And I can't remember his name, the head investigator, Dr. Colm, something or other. And he didn't know how that happened, and I was almost in disbelief. I mean, I see things, I watch it, I know frequencies. The reason why I brought it up before, I never finished it, I was made to serve and protect. Because of that, I can see all these different frequencies immediately. If somebody was making 5 robots, and one of them he wanted to be the guard, he would give that robot the ability to analyze much more and quicker what's a threat, what's not, what something is, to make its own decision of what is, and stronger. That's not the best analogy, but it's the only thing I can think of that fits. That's why I see this stuff. But y'all can see this stuff just great. The fighting I went through, killing the original first, being male and female and everything else, I got messed with and I got hurt. Bad. But I still see really strong. Anyway, so that's why that happened. It seems like a mystery. And you notice these scientists don't speculate about anything. They tell you what they know. That's the same relaxed, open-mindedness you need to have when you start using your abilities. Don't try to see something. Don't expect to see something. See what you become aware of and see what that means to you. Telepathy is image talking, okay, on its initial levels. If you see someone and they're in if you see someone, I'm trying to think of a personal example. I'm different. I just see things different. If you had a vision or something, or you're relaxing and something comes in your head, excuse me, and you see yourself in front of a nice house on a nice piece of property, that doesn't mean that in a couple of weeks you're going to build or be in that house. But what the message might be is that you have a new house coming, new to you. I mean, it just, you can't try to hold on to the specifics, okay? And a lot of you have always had stuff like that come in and you've been lied to by spirit on the other side. And the second I'm out of here, within 4 months, anything that does that will be stopped and or deleted. Anyway, so that's basically the ET video. The other, there was some of the other videos. I need to stop where I'm at. I want to put out one other video, a personal one, to talk to everyone. people. Well, I want to put that one out, but I'm going to put another one out, real short, about something else. You know, I'll just talk about it now. There's another video. It's UFO secret, the friendship case, and in parentheses, extraordinary case of mass alien contact. It's 52 minutes. The author / director is unavailable. It was released in 2018. Around 1956, there was a group of ETs that started making contact. Just came right out and met physically, hand to hand, making contact with some humans in Italy. They said we're from the W56 group. They wound up being called the Friends, and they were talking back and forth. There was over 100 regular Earth human beings that were involved in this. A good portion of them had physical contact. Okay. They were. I'm just going to read this off real quick. Okay. They came here about 1 million years ago again. They call themselves the Akrig, A-K-R-I-G. Loose translations. In Sanskrit, it means the sages. In Egypt, hieroglyphics, it means the wise people. In Greek, it means people in high places. In Arabic, it means group of friends. They were extremely compassionate people, okay? They were trying to get some areas, some groups of people that knew the opposite of compassion. This is just 10 years, a little over 10 years past World War II in Italy. They had Mussolini and all this other stuff to deal with. They had their own suffering that they went through. Well, because they were in the area, and the folks of Italy had gone through some stuff, they were trying to revitalize compassion, but also they were trying to create a situation where compassion would be in a certain group and then hopefully spread across the planet. It wasn't time for it, and the other side's in control. The original first being female and male said, hell no. We're not going to allow that, but we're going to allow this communication to go on. It went on until 1978. And when they ended the conversations with them, the relationship, then all of a sudden there was waves of starships everywhere. They had this all on camera, on film. Between October 78th and January 79, you had massive UFO sightings out around that area in the Mediterranean, but around Italy. What I wanted to bring up about this, these people have been around a long time. Like I said, over a million years. But there's so many people that talk about Lord Saint Germain, or the Lord Count of Saint Germain. In that movie, UFO Secret, the friendship case, extraordinary case of mass alien contact, is 52 minutes. You can find it on Amazon.com. And 45 minutes and 20 seconds. There's a letter written. The letter's dated June 6, 1761. Okay? Voltaire writes to the Lord Count of Saint Germain he's talking about the Friends. But if you look at the letter that was written and listen to it, Voltaire was talking about the extremely important or serious, deadly, whatever, not deadly, but dangerous message, the information that Saint Germain had given Voltaire about the Friends. And Saint Germain, it was said that he could teleport from one place to another. Well, sometimes the Friends moved them around. It wasn't him. He was in an alchemy. He could have stone and have something else reappear, turn into something else. No, it's just people, transporting, teleporting, moving it out and moving it in. They called Saint Germain was being called the Ascended Master, especially from teleporting. But it's again, he knew that he was going to have a meeting with someone, and he taken to the meeting. It's no big deal, but the friends did it on purpose. The ETW56 group, they did it on purpose to help bring him some attention. They were trying to start a wave of strong compassion and everything else here on the planet, and hopefully help it spread. But like I said, the original first being male and female halves, we're not about to let it happen, and the female's mostly in charge of that. Voltaire talks about the talking pictures. It's a type of video system that Saint Germain had, that he was given to by the Friends, or the W56 group. Actually, the Friends is like a part of the W56 group that actually talks with the humans, so the Friends are part of the W56 group. Excuse me. Damn. Voltaire saw a video of future events that was given to Saint Germain, things that were about to happen, and he would. These folks can see certain things happening in their scanners. They've been doing this for millions and millions of years. The Nantids had it when they came here just over 4 billion years ago. They're the ones that the Hopi call the ant people. So in telepathy, that's just part of who they are. Saint Germain could hear and see and feel things. Lots of times he had help with instrumentation. Saint Germain was Source, and he was strong Source, and he had strong solar plexus energy, but everything else was cooking too. He had heart and pineal, but he was mostly solar plexus. And then Voltaire talked about the flying machines that Saint Germain showed him a video, saucers. And he also talked about the long road through time that Saint Germain hadn't showed Voltaire. The long road through time, it's about the middle of the 20th century kind of stuff, whatever. Things that were going to happen. Something got stupid, but it won't again. It was actually embodied. Reptilian, we'll leave it there. Anyway, it's like you get a hard piercing pain in the side of your head. That's what it is. And scanners can read my head, and the original first being male. After I was, waking up strong for about a year, they realized I could walk the original first being male and female, what people have been calling God. Like I said, it's no God, it's no devil, it's all crap. It's lies from the original first person, original first being. That split itself into two similar parts so it would have company. Male and female is how it's created. So, anyway, when you get attacked, so the male part, one night, the two of them were talking about what they were going to do, how they were going to screw around with me. They'd already been attacking me, didn't want to stop. And the female said to the male, she goes, you know, can you see, you know, how strong this guy's getting? What are we gonna do? You know, we need to literally start doing this and that. And she started talking. She's getting vague about, you know, find some way to go around him, go around his emotions, his thought process. And before I went any further, I just all of a sudden it's like opening up your eyes like this when you're in a body. And then I just said, "Hey, folks, gee, you think that'll work?" And the males and the female said, "Wow, look at him. You know, we couldn't even see him. He's you know, too strong, too quick." So, because you're not supposed to be able to do stuff like that to your body, but so then original first being male, he never said it to her. It was just thought in his head, and you know, it's energy. He's an energy field, and then there's a focal point that's the strongest. That's what I'm calling the head. So he said he always did. His thought process was, "I'm going to take care of him tonight." And that next morning when I woke up in bed and I didn't know where I was. And then I realized I didn't know who I was. But I kept getting told by about 3 or 4 very loving people on the other side, "It's okay. You're going to be fine. Just relax. It's okay. You're going to be fine. Just relax. It's okay." Got up, walking through my bedroom. I kind of knew the bedroom, but I didn't understand it, you know, and I could see for myself, okay, I don't know this place, but it's okay. Then I walked in a mirror and I looked at myself, and first thought was, "Who the hell are you?" Again, it's okay. And it took me a few days, about 4 days, I guess, before I was kind of back to it. But he had destroyed part of my brain inside here, the original male. The part of the brain that connects the conscious to the physical conscious to the metaphysical, to make it harder for me to do and see things. So, but I found a way around it, but it took away part of my abilities. I don't expect anyone to believe any of this stuff, but I'm telling you, not only is it real, I went through a lot of shit. So, no biggie, it's my job. You're a janitor, it's hard to mop up the floor, it's a real sticky mess, well, whatever, you just go clean it. But anyway, so that's what's going on at Skinwalker Ranch. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, especially for the Ramirez and Aya family, my family from Spain, so to speak. Deanna and her family. Things are coming together. There's a huge federation. It used to be like related to the Federation, but now it's an alliance ship that's coming in and is a part of Lily. That has already been saying hello to Nacho, Deanna's one of Deanna's brothers, and he's incredibly powerful. Pineal, telepathy and everything else, and he's just now coming alive. So he's a very powerful old soul, you know, the soul essence and source. And everyone thinks, "Oh, source, I want to be source." You know, screw that. I still have, and have had much more problem with source than I have anything else. It's all relative to the original first being, how they created everything and what they made it. But these source beings, it'll be fixed soon. I'm like your oldest brother. Every time the original first being got together, the two parts got together and released a third of their energy to create something new, I was there. I had to be. That's when they made me to serve and protect them and everything else they created. And when something else came out of the first dimension, that's where, excuse me, that's where they were created by happenstance in the original first dimension. And so they said anything comes out of there, you beat it up and control it, and you tell it to do what we tell you to tell it to do. And the first thing I said is, sure, okay, I never had a life. I didn't know anything. After I had about 100 million lives, I said, you know, y'all can go screw yourself on that stuff. Something comes out, we're going to get together and say, yo, what's happening? Anyway, these events are almost here. In book 3, like I said, Dean and I had very special children that have come from us. Our material that we're supposed to be, I've said, would be here in 7 years. Right now, I'll tell you, I'm seeing it 4 years. 4 years time, just over 4 years time from my getting out of this body, which is very soon, 4 years from now anyway. In December 2018, that's when we were supposed to be seeing all these ETs coming in. We're around all the major cities and other places, thousands of huge craft. All of a sudden the sky's filled, not with clouds, with huge ET ships. And guess what? Nothing happens. No one gets hurt. Nothing. So much for the lies of governments and all the other assholes. Anyway, and book 3 over here, how you know you have the last copy, final copy. There's the first page. You go behind the first page, and on the back of the first page it says, it would be Roman numeral 2. Right here, it's got the copyright down here, but then it's got some writing down here. That's how you know you have the last one. There was a short period where this third edition was written. I wrote it twice and I had to rewrite it a final third time. It happened in real small circumstance. I found out about something I hadn't seen before. It was brought to my attention. So damn it, I had to go in and put it into the book. Deanna and I did, and we had to go through the crap of, you know, republishing that. And then something else came up to me a third time. I'm like, son of a bee. And so then the third time I just stopped. And there I was, still stuck in the body. If I could have got out of my body early 2018, this timeline, I don't put a timeline in here that everything's attached to the timeline. It doesn't have a date. The only dates that are really are 2018 is when I said that our friends would be showing themselves. So things get relative to that. It got put off. It's 2019. It's April 2019, and I don't have too much longer before I'm free. Anyway, what it says is the future timeline for all the events you're about to read here, as well as those mentioned in the rest of my books, is dependent upon Arae, which is who I am, not this damn body, having returned home to the other side early enough to set up the introduction between ourselves here on Earth and our ET friends in a manner most comfortable for everyone. At the time I wrote this, today is May 28th, 2018, and I should have returned already, but I talk about myself like in the third person, he's. This is, when you're in a body, you're the conscious mind that's in there, but you're what's inside running the body. With me, it's different. I have that scenario, yet I'm made a source. And it's like I said, if you take a bucket of stream water, a bucket of lake water, and a huge bucket, you pour them both into that big, huge bucket, it's going to mix. Pulling them apart is hell. The conscious mind and everything else of almost every life I've ever had comes with me. That's why when I first found out I was Gandhi, immediately I was so pissed off that people were saying I only got shot 3 times instead of 4, and I felt the 4th one where it went right over my rib cage. Kind of silly. Another one was the Merlin thing. And it's, things have gotten so, I've tried to explain things in videos. What I am is so huge, so large. I got different parts coming off. I mean, extending off me. A lot of them have been broken off. It's nuts. Anyway, let's see. Today is May 20th, 2018. He should have returned already. He's the only one capable of changing creation's form, and I am. It's no big deal. And creating these events, they will happen quickly after his return, as soon as I get home. And then a bold print, it says, the timeline presented in this book will begin upon the death of the J. Essex body, freeing Arae from his prison. I think the last page in the book is 483, but you add the introduction and everything else, it's like, I don't know, 513 pages or something. There's so much stuff in here. It's not just about the ETs. It's not about the way things are going to happen over here. Money, after a certain while, money will be gone. Just for giggles, while we're here, hell, the chapters, I don't know how many, the index, contents, table of contents, so I don't know how many pages. All these sections and chapters within the sections, blah, blah, blah. Okay, just the little tidbits of stuff I touch on, so you have something. It starts on page 445 and called Informative Tidbits. Dreams, visions, deja vu, spirit guides, also the earring and that's going on. It's kind of funny how on YouTube there's all these things about how to stop tinnitus. That's your spirit guides talking to you. It ain't going to go away. Sorry. It's time for everyone to wake up. Like those little blotches you see going everywhere. That's your spirit guides. Making energy and saying, over here, look over there. Anyway, ghosts, demons, and exorcisms, energetic imprint recordings, dowsing rods, pendulums, kinesiology, pictures, dimensions and barriers, mirrors, Ouija boards and books, darting black spots in the corners of your eyes. So we're just talking about sage, spontaneous combustion, blah, blah. You know, folks, I've covered. This is creation's history from about 2015. Damn. About 2015 to 2018, and then stuff that's going to happen in the near future. This is the second I'm out of here, folks. Things are going to happen, start happening fast, and all the animals are leaving. You know, talked about the animals leaving once, and a month later, all of a sudden it broke out all over the internet. So if it broke out on the internet, then it took what, 3 weeks for it to happen. So what's the reality of the situation? Very shortly after I made a comment on the internet video about the animals going to start leaving in mass numbers, and they are. Then all of a sudden they find half the world's population of the sag antelope dead in Pakistan. Don't ever worry about being mistaken about something. That's how you learn. You learn to do something better by having done it less efficiently beforehand. I just want you all to know who you are, who you really are, what you can really do, where you came from, why your lives have been so hard, why they're going to be better, and what's about to happen, which is really fracking cool. All the ETs and then spirit. Everyone's always been harassed, beat up, controlled. The stuff that was doing that is dead, gone. Original first being male and female, the original first angels, almost every one of them is dead now. You had two other huge parts of a clean source. They were cleaned, and then male and female, and then they're gone. So it was two pairs. They're gone. So two of them will be coming back. The Arae and Lilith. You'll be seeing them again. But Lydia and Arae, no mas. Anyway, if you know who you are, what's been going on, why, and everything that's been messing with you won't be allowed to mess with you anymore. That makes your life so much better. You don't understand. And 2,000 years less, these physical bodies are going to be gone. About 10% of them will still be here. The rest won't exist anymore in all the new universes. It's 1,672 new universes. And another partial. It's not complete and it's isolated. That's where you'll be going to have lives. When you go there, you'll be the same kind of energy bodies, where you can make yourself solid and feel something like that, or you relax your energy and you can go right through a tree. You can feel the grid on the outside. You can feel each one of the rings as you move through it, going through it. Actually really connect and feel the love in someone. So anyway, folks, look, I will have that ET information, the other information, basic information for the videos that are good information, okay? Hey, listen, everybody, you know, but if you spend your time, excuse me, if you... That was stupid. I have very little lung power and blown off my glasses was stupid. Anyway, watch stuff to get your own opinion of it, but if all you want to do is watch them, don't waste your time with me, because you're going to learn something. So. And all this information, everything, is to help you become yourself. So the stones and products at the universe, at the spiritual foundation, are expensive. For what the books are, they're not. But the materials, these stones here, this house is full of 3 layers of stones, and then there's the floor, 4 layers. Stones everywhere. And then there's a shop, 22 by 34, with a second level, second floor that goes a little more than halfway across it. I made it to hold 350 Chevys, so the second floor. So yeah, you can walk around it, jump up, dance, you know. I don't know, I guess you could fit 40 people up there running around, you know, jumping up and down, dancing or something. Anyway, whatever. I just want you to have the information. The stone's real expensive. I mean, comparatively, this stone is more expensive. It's the best you can find, and it's the best we could find, and it's all cranked up hard. The necklaces, Deanna knows your energy. She just knows. You send her an email, she's already looking at you. She knows your energy. If you need some red aventurine, dragonstone jasper, throw in a little bit of aquamarine, whatever you need, especially for what you want to accomplish, she's going to put in there. For a personal necklace, if you just want a plain personal necklace, get me what's best for me, she'll give it to you. It's usually about 5 to 6. There's usually about 5 or 6 or more different stones in there. You got to keep it down because it's so. Necklace is only so big. Anyway, folks, look, love you. Have fun. Other than getting a crank up from someone who is source. The best thing you can do is get one of these spheres that we put out. And I have tons of this star Essenite that I've cranked up hard. I don't know, I guess a few tons of stone here on the house. We have one dragon egg star Essenite crystal. The crystal dragon egg star Essenite. This stuff is, well, come to think of it, I had a piece right here. We got a ton of Danburite. Deanna's got so much stuff, it's nuts. Well, here's a piece of it. It's not the big piece. This is crystal dragon egg stauresonite. We had a 66-pound piece, and we've broken that up. And I don't know that the other one will ever get broken up. But the other one we have, there's pictures of it in different videos. You can see where it weighs I think the scale picture on the scale says, if you look at it on the scale, it's sitting on the corner of the scale and it says it's like 172 pounds. But you put it in the middle for the accurate weight, it's like 178 pounds. One huge crystal of this stone. It's almost all star. 185 pounds. Deanna?
What?
That large piece of that large crystal dragon egg stauresonite crystal we have, how much does that weigh? Is that, it's 185, right? It was 100, huh?
I forgot.
187? That's what it was. It's 182 on the weighing scale meter when it's sitting right on that edge of the guys didn't want to put it on the right in the middle of it. It was heavy. It's 187 pounds. So anyway, she's got everything she needs. Everything that comes on this property after I'm gone, I'm just cranking up anyway. The thing is, for you to find what works with you, and the first thing that really should work with you is you finding yourself. You can go to a store, get a piece of lapis. Here's a rough piece of lapis. Okay, you want to get some good lapis, get the lapis from Afghanistan, okay? And then here's some selenite. Feel them one at a time. Hold the stone like this, feel the energy coming in and out. The fastest way to feel the most. The fastest way to feel stone energy, the quickest way to feel it, the way to feel it most, the way to get the best feel of it, accuracy, etc., is to hold it with the fingertips. The fingertips and the palms of your hands are where your energy is. Okay, that's where your energy goes in and out of the body. I'm just going to push this to finish. So you feel like this, okay? Relax. And just open up. Relax, open yourself up and say, I want to feel this energy. Say it out loud if you want, but don't. Just know in your mind you want to feel the energy, so you feel it. Then you feel lapis. Feel that. See what part of the head where it hits you. Then put them both together. Get your fingertips to touch all of it. The first thing you know is when you hold it, you're going to feel a little different, but your body's going to feel the energy different because they're adding frequencies to it. It's supposed to feel different. Here's a little piece of damberite. It's a huge piece, but you feel this? It's extremely high vibration, really short little energy frequency waves. Anyway, citrine helps you clean. It helps clean up your energy in your brain, but it also helps you focus. Just for giggles, try taking some citrine and some black onyx and put them in your pockets, or hold them in your hands first and just relax and wait and see if you, wait and see if you don't feel something. All right, folks, so I expect I'll talk to you again in a time or two.